the FNL Network talk show.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the FNL Network talk show, my first talk show of the year. Very exciting. I'm your host, Diana Gebbia, and today we have an awesome lineup. David, Corey, and Linni. Hello, you guys.
Hey.
Hello. How are
How
you?
you been? How's the new year treating you?
So far, so good.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. And it seems like 2024 is off to no less of a crazy start than last year was, because over the weekend I read that a New York City musician got 5 women pregnant at once, and he threw them all a joint baby shower. And you know, we've seen this with Nick Cannon. He has like 11.7 billion children with different baby mamas. So I want to know, what are your thoughts on this like non-traditional family dynamic? Is this here to stay? Is this like a 1 or 2 off thing? And Corey, since I've never met you, this is my first time meeting you, I'm going to kick it over to you first.
Okay. Yeah, no, I thought that was a great question. I don't think it's here to stay because I don't think it's a sustainable lifestyle. So as far as if it's here to stay, no. And it's also not something that a lot of people are going to be promoting. Say what you want, but it's not something I'm looking for with my daughter. Like, hey, go find a guy that's got 4 other women and children with 4 other women. Like, you know, it's a part of that lifestyle, being a celebrity, I guess, but it's definitely not a family dynamic that I see aiming for or something that benefits society overall. It's not sustainable for an entire society, I would say. So, and there's no way that dad is giving each and every one of those kids the best of himself. So
that's such a great point. You know, not only sustainable financially, because like, how do you send those kids to college, but like also physically, emotionally, like just being there, providing for your children. That's a really great point. Linni, what do you think?
Well, I had a lot of thoughts before I read the article. The article was talking about how these women are really happy to be sister wives. I thought they're sister wives without commitment.
Yeah.
There is no legal document that says any one of them are actually married, right? So they're all really, in all reality, it's like they're just friends with benefits that just happen to have lots of kids. What else? Like, I don't see how that's going to ever be a sustainable future unless, you know, somehow all of those women figure out, you know, I don't know, maybe that's cute in your 20s, but is that really cute in your 50s? I don't know.
No, I totally agree. And I remember reading up on the sister wives thing and having like a similar thought, like you're not married and like maybe that's the cute kind of friendship you all have now, but like what happens when one kid gets more money than your kid? Are you all gonna fight? Like I feel like it's not gonna be much of a sister wives relationship at that point. Let's go over to David. What do you think?
I think the sister wives are just happy they're getting that dough coming in. That's what it comes down to. You know, baby daddy drama, baby mama drama, that kind of stuff is, I'll be honest with you, I think it's the #1 problem we have in society today. You know, and it's not just celebrities. There's people out there that our society has gotten away from the traditional family values. And a lot of people get values and morals mixed up. And I think for the most part, we come from a very traditional family. And granted, we have 1,000 kids in our family. You know, my parents are, you know, like kind of like an Adam and Eve that's going to just keep, you know, going and going and going. But for the most part, we've repopulated a lot as a family. You know, and, you know, anytime you see parents that have more than one kid from different families or different women or men, it becomes a huge issue. The problem that I see is our society has got a bunch of young kids that do not have a father figure in their household. Most of these mothers have to be the father and the mother. And, you know, I'm a guy, I'm a dad. It's not easy being a dad. And, you know, I started off at a very young age. I was 15 when I had my first child. And, you know, I had to grow up real quick, be a man real quick. And in order to do that, it meant I'm going to learn as we go. You know, so my oldest daughter had an older brother, so to speak, that was raising her. And I made a lot of mistakes. And my youngest daughter, she was, I think there's about a 14-year difference. I might be wrong on the math, but my youngest daughter, she came out terrible. She was just a pain in the ass. We used to call her Terrible T. The girl was crazy. And I think she fell down the stairwell a couple times, where it finally flipped, and all of a sudden she was super nice. But I learned my lessons from the older ones. So I think what happens is when you have multiple kids from multiple mothers, from a guy's standpoint, one, you have to be financially responsible. The problem that we're seeing is that these kids that are being raised without both parents in the household, I think they're causing major terror in schools. They're major terror in society. They're not being held accountable to anything. We end up having, and I see it every day, and it's just something, like Corey said, I don't think it's sustainable. I think it's great if he's paying, and taking care of it, but I don't know about you guys, but these other cultures that have multiple wives, hell, I have troubles with one. I couldn't imagine more than one, so, and 5 sisters, that, oh man, like you said, that's a 24/7 job, so how are you going to be able to raise them? What are you going to teach them? What kind of values are you teaching them? You're teaching them it's all right to go out there and not have that kind of a lifestyle. I don't know. It's very hard for me to find families that are well-rounded families that are not all over the place and dysfunctional, without 2 parents in the household. I mean, that's just my opinion on it.
That's what I mean when I say it's not sustainable. I mean, as a society, that model's not sustainable. I agree with you 100%. The crisis of the modern time is fatherhood, for sure. And a lot of these kids, like, as we both teach, a lot of kids go to school and they get a lot of the care and the love, and there are a lot more women in the education business, if you will, and a lot of the kids, they get a lot of the loving side and the caring side, and you can do whatever you want, and a lot of them really respond differently to the male teachers because they just need somebody there that once in a while reminds them of, like, there's a line here, you're not allowed to cross this line, and they need that hard line once in a while. And we do notice, especially as teachers, a lot of times they don't get that. But if you do look around, like, you can look at the numbers in our classrooms, you can look at the numbers in other schools, you can look at the numbers, like I said, in prison, and if you were to break it down and find out how many of them had both parents, right? And it's not as though, moms, there's lots of women who have been single moms that have raised fantastic kids that have grown up to do fantastic things. So it's very possible. And we see families split all the time. David was mentioning how difficult, he's seen how difficult it can be when there's children from different mothers or different fathers. And it's a challenge. It's far more challenging than the traditional setup, right? But it happens and we deal with it. And those are challenges that we have to rise to. And, this guy that got 5 of them pregnant at once, he's going to have to deal with the consequences of his actions. But it's definitely not something as a society to look up to or model or say, yeah, that's the way we should be doing things. Like, no, it's going to be a mess. And I wish the best for them all, but it's going to be a mess.
Yeah. There's actually one of, like, Nick Cannon's baby mamas. She's on Selling Sunset on Netflix, and she got a lot of heat about it, like, from her coworkers. And she's like, well, I'm happy. And listen, like, to each their own. But then you have to wonder, like, you're happy, but what about your son? He's a baby right now. He doesn't know any better, but growing up, is that going to be the same way? And, it could work out, like you mentioned, that she does raise a wonderful child mostly on her own, but there's always that shadow of doubt in your minds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we're
Don't
gonna
worry, David, one day you're still gonna grow up. You'll be a real man soon. You're getting there. Keep going.
Oh my God, I love it.
Trial and error. That's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
Hey, I tell my kids all the time, I never claimed to be a great dad, and there's a lot of things that I wish I could have done that I just wasn't really into it. I mean, hell, I never wanted kids. I ended up having 5 of them, and does it mean I would take it back? No, absolutely, positively not. People ask me all the time, do you have any regrets in life? Nope. I wouldn't be who I am today, and I wouldn't have the children that I had. Now, is there things that I wish I could have done better? Absolutely. There's a lot of things I could have done better, and one of the things I've found over the years too is that even with your kids, when you think you've done everything right, they come back as adults and they want to just slam you with things that you never saw coming, and it's like, wow, I wasn't perfect, and there's a lot of things that I just don't see how you can do it, and
Yeah.
it,
You
it,
don't
it,
have to be a great dad or a great mom. You just have to be a dad and be a mom, right?
well, anybody
We
can
grew
be a
up, like you
dad or a
said, we grew
mom.
up. Well, no, be there for them is what I mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, not just be the donor, but actually be there. When we grew up, like you keep saying, a traditional, well, my dad made a lot of mistakes, just like David's talking about, tons of them. And he's always getting on himself. And I'm like, no, you're my hero.
Yeah.
Mom and dad loved each other. Mom and dad loved us.
Yeah, if you
Anything
talk to
else
our
the
dad, he
world threw
makes
at
it
us.
sounds like we're a bunch of failures, half the time.
Yeah,
Like,
I
wait,
know.
what are you doing, Dad? What are you talking about? We're not that bad. You
Yeah,
did great. Nah, I didn't.
yeah,
I
exactly.
should have did better. It's like, wow.
Yeah. But if mom and dad love each other and mom and dad loved us, and we knew that, and whatever the world throws at us, still, whatever the world throws at us, we have that strength. That's a power that gets overlooked when in those kinds of situations where someone's going to go out and have multiple different partners and try to make these things work outside of the traditional or nuclear family, right? And of course, like we
Yeah,
said, things are going to happen. Um, there are some dynamics that are going to change. There are some dynamics that, there are divorces, there are things of that nature, and we do our best to make it all work. It's not the goal, right?
Right.
yeah. Well,
Right.
life is 10% what happens to you. The other 90% is how you handle it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I definitely want to stay on this celebrity route because I don't know about you, but I've just seen every single headline about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. And I don't watch football, but I hear from people who do that, like when you're watching the Chiefs, if they're playing anyone, it just cuts to Taylor. So I want to know, do you think enough is enough? I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this. It's like, I'm not a fan of hers, but also if it were Kylie Jenner, if it were, I don't know, Angelina Jolie in the stands and you're cutting to her and people are trying to watch a game, I'd be like, enough already. So do you think this is also helping or hindering the NFL? Like I said, I don't really know anything about football, so I don't know if this is good for them or bad for them. Are any of you football fans?
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Okay. I will let you take the floor first then, David, because I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to the sports ball. So go ahead.
Football in the last 10 years. I've been coaching football and playing football since I was 7 years old. And so I've always been a part of it. I've coached at every level and I've played at almost every level. And I tell you what, the game in itself has been changing a lot. So I find the NFL trying to find ways of making extra cash on the side. Last week, the Packers made it into the playoffs and my son called me up, said he had a friend that can give us tickets for $700 a ticket. Now, normally that is crazy, but it was something, it was an opportunity. So I said, let me think about it. I'll call you back tomorrow. Called in the morning. Sure enough, they doubled in price already. The NFL is a business, and so they're going to use everything they can. I grew up country music. I love country, and I've never been a Swiftie fan. Okay. Now, does it matter that it's Taylor Swift? No, absolutely not. And the way I look at it is it gets irritating because I think the sideshow is a lot of fans that are just there. They don't really know enough about the game. So they want to see something that seems that they can recognize. And if you're a 12-year-old girl and you see Taylor Swift on TV, you're going to go watch it. So guess what? The NFL is making a good point by doing that. Is it too far? I think it is. I think what it's come down to is it's kind of been a way of distracting from the fact that the Chiefs have absolutely sucked this year. And so because of that, they want to make sure that they've got Taylor Swift up there. Hey, guess what? People are going to tune in and watch the game. Taylor Swift's there. Now, does the normal football coach, football player, football fan enjoy it? Probably for a few seconds. Oh, Taylor Swift dating Kelce. That's nice. Could we stop switching over to Taylor Swift? Even other football players from other teams have said, man, maybe we need to get somebody to start dating Taylor Swift just so we can get the coverage.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I think what's happening is too many people are taking it too far. And we're in a society right now that's kind of like, I like to joke around and say it's like the SpongeBob SquarePants with his ripped pants thing. You know, it was funny the first few times, but he kept playing it and doing it, and everybody started hating on him. You know, and it's like every 5 seconds he's like, "Oh, I ripped my pants," you know, and laugh. And it's the same thing with Taylor Swift, as far as I'm concerned. So I
Yes.
think that it's an absolute distraction. One of my brothers is a Buffaloes fan. He's watching the game right now. So as soon as I'm done, I gotta go down and watch it. But I'm banking on the fact, well, I want him to win because it's his team, but I want the Chiefs out so we can stop seeing Taylor Swift. If she's got to be in the Super Bowl, this is going to be irritating, you know. And you know, the good thing though is that there's going to be a lot of songs about the Chiefs when they break up, and they're going to be negative songs because, as far as I'm concerned, every song that she's ever made that was a hit was after breaking up with a guy. So, you know, whatever it is, we'll just wait and see how that turns out. I might listen to that song and then use
It
that as
might
an
be a
anthem.
country song, David. You might just have another country song to listen to.
It might be. You never know, you know. So
Can I just say, I love how you dropped a SpongeBob reference in there, because like I am big SpongeBob reference girl, and whenever someone does something that annoys me, I always say, "There goes SpongeBob ripping his pants again."
ripping his pants.
So
again.
I totally feel you on that, and I just think celebrity culture, and listen, I love celebrities, so I feel kind of hypocritical, but like when it comes to celebrity couples, like stalking them in the media like is a little cringy to me. Like there are celebrity couples I love. I love Harry and Meghan. I watch wrestling, so I love The Miz and his wife Maurice, but I get my fill of them when I'm on social media and they post stories together, and I'm like, that's super cute. They just went to Vegas. Look how happy they are. I love it. But I don't see any of that with Taylor and Travis. It's just the media like creeping on them, or her at the football game. And to me, that's just bizarre to like idolize like that. I don't know. I feel like I'm looking in their house while they're eating dinner or something. It's like super, super weird for me. Corey, you mentioned you're a football fan as well, so I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one.
Well, I stopped watching when the Dolphins lost, so
Fair.
no, it really doesn't bother me one way or the other. NFL was here before her, NFL will be here after her. I don't think it affects it that much, but like David said, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, right? It's bigger than a business, it's an industry. And so yeah, they're making money on every little thing they possibly can. So they're gonna throw those shots up that direction. They're gonna make money off of it. I don't particularly see her or him trying to force their way into it. I don't see him going, hey, put more shots up there of her, or you know what I mean? And she doesn't seem to be showboating. She's, from what I've watched, the games I've watched, she's genuinely into the game. You do have these other people. My wife was pointing out she'd seen one where a woman just stood there outside of the box that they were in with her back turned to the game the entire time, just staring up at her like in a trance. And all that's ridiculous to me, but that's not me, right? So there's people that can't stand that she's there. There's people that love that she's there. I honestly couldn't care less. I don't see it as something that's hurting or hindering, and they probably are making a few bucks off of it. And as far as celebrity goes too, celebrities, it's a slippery slope, definitely double-edged sword a lot of times, because there is times and things they can do, and they can absolutely be mentors to people that look up to them and watch them. I just think that very, very rarely happens, because most of them are just artists or ball players who are doing their thing. And a lot of them don't know what to do with their money when they get there. And a lot of them have never been taught financial responsibility. So a lot of them lose their money, and there's things of that nature. Whereas, Taylor Swift, to her credit's doing a lot of really smart stuff with her money. She skipped all the middlemen to put her concert at the movie theaters and did really well with it, right? And that's money that her and her people got to hold on to, cutting all these middle people out. I didn't watch it. Not interested in it. It's just it doesn't interest me musically. My wife watches the brothers podcasts occasionally, and I think she watched like their little documentary or whatever about the two of them, not the podcast, the documentary. So she's seen a few things here and there, and without her, I wouldn't even know or care. When I'm watching the game, I see, okay, there's Taylor Swift, but sometimes, if Eminem was there, like my wife brought up, if Eminem was there, they'd be focusing on that too, and everybody in the crowd would be, oh, it's Eminem, check him out. And but we're all still there for the football game, you know?
Yeah.
And yes, there's going to be other people that are there for her, but I don't think, and she's got tons and tons of fans, but are the numbers of fans that are huge fans of hers like overwhelming the football stadiums now? Is any of that going on? I don't see any of that happening, so doesn't bother me one way or the other, I guess.
Yeah. I love that the brothers had opposite takes here. That's very interesting to me. Linni, what do you think?
So, well, first of all, I love football, but I'm hardcore Broncos fan. I grew up in Cincinnati, and on the day I married my husband, my vow was to no longer love the Bengals, but to love the Broncos. So, so, so there is no way I could ever love the Chiefs, no matter what. That'd be like divorcing my husband. I just couldn't do it. So Broncos fan through and through. As far as Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, I think it's great. I think it's hilarious. The Bills today, they changed all their food items to all Taylor Swift songs. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
So Swifties are going to the stadium. They're buying the tickets. They're buying the outfits. They are buying the food, and they're eating it up right now. So everyone's taking advantage of this little celebrity couple. I actually hope they last. I actually like Jason Kelce. I'm sorry, not Jason. It's Travis Kelce. Comparatively to all of her other little boyfriends, I'm like, you know what? I actually could see a future with both of them. I think it makes sense. I'm like, they just make sense. He's masculine, she's feminine, versus all of her feminine boyfriends that she has dated over the years, that I'm like, if anyone ever comes to break in your home, you're both are going to be like murdered. Like, there's no one to protect you. But like that dude is totally going to protect her. So anyway, they say that their podcasts for Jason and Travis have gone through the roof because of the Swifties all coming out. Listen to their podcast now. The owner of the Chiefs is saying that it's the best thing that's happened to them all year. So I don't know. I don't think it's a negative or a positive thing, but I think it's really fun to watch. And really, if they didn't want the attention, then she wouldn't go to the games. But she's still choosing to go to the games and choosing to be cold in that crazy Kansas City weather. And at the end of the day, that's how they're wanting to live their life. And if they wanted privacy, she'd be staying home.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I do agree. I do think they're a good couple. Like, wish them all the best, but like, also, do I need to hear about them every 15 seconds? Absolutely not. And the food thing was like major cringe for me. It was like, oh, good God. Like, this woman shut down Ticketmaster, and now she's got menus named after her. But that's besides the point.
Not that she's the one that made those choices, but she is a brilliant businesswoman. And the fact that Harvard, Stanford, Yale are all doing business classes based on the Swiftie model of business fascinates me.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's the one, not the one compliment, but when everyone was like, say something nice about Taylor Swift, I'm like, she's a good businesswoman. That's what you get from me. Okay, so New Year, January, dry January. It's trending everywhere. So if you're not familiar with that, it's when you give up alcohol for the month. I tried last year, and then I went out for dinner with my friends, and they ordered a bottle of wine, and that was the end of it. So are you better than I am when it comes to dry January, or are you, just not about that life? I also, when I was like researching this, it said that some studies show that like, even if you give it up for the month, like some people are more likely to kind of make up for it subconsciously at the end of the year. So then it's not even like, I guess the health benefits of it are kind of counteracted by that point. I don't know. Corey, let me start with you. What do you think?
What was that, like any month, like after a month of drinking or not drinking, then, or was that specifically January?
It didn't really specify. Like, I think they were just talking about January in the article for like the topic's sake, but I could see that happening other months too.
Yeah, because right after January, you got not Oktoberfest, but you got like Groundhog Day has a lot of German drinking traditions around it, and then you come right into March, where of course you got St. Patrick's Day. So naturally, February and March are a lot of drinking going on anyway. So if we're just talking about dry January, it may not be the dry January that's doing it to them. But if that's the case with any month, that's an interesting thing that they end up drinking more afterwards. But no, I've never tried dry January or any month at all.
You just drink every month, every day.
Yeah, I've never tried to be dry. We just drink. Yeah, we just enjoy ourselves, and I can give up carbohydrates, I can give up sleep, but I don't know about giving up alcohol for a whole month. So, if I had to for some reason, I could, but why?
Right.
We enjoy it, and especially, being family and brothers and stuff, we're all always watching each other's back. So, we're pretty safe with it, and so we enjoy our alcohol. We got, like David loves to say, we got Irish, we got Viking, we're Catholic, so we like our drinking. And we're American on top of all that, right? So we enjoy our drinking. So I've never tried a dry January or any month. It'd be an interesting thing. I don't know if it would affect my health one way or not, because I don't feel like I drink that much, that if I stopped doing it, it would affect me.
Right.
When we're working out, dieting, and trying to slim down and hitting it hard, and we're getting into our zone, we kind of don't drink much anyway. So during that time for us. So
Yeah. No, I'm with you. Like, enjoy it. Everything in moderation,
yeah.
Including moderation.
Yeah,
Yes.
six-pack's pretty moderate,
Yes.
right? A nice six-pack to yourself, I feel, is moderate,
Amen. Linni, that's such a good point. Moderation and moderation. Have you ever tried the dry January trend?
I haven't. I grew up in the Bible Belt, where like my brother's a pastor, and hysterically enough, his first year being a pastor in the Bible Belt in the middle of nowhere, he had to drive 2 counties over to get a bottle of wine because he didn't want any of the parishioners to see him getting a bottle of wine. And I had already lived in California at this point and thought that was hysterical, of like, oh my gosh, seriously? Like, we're still doing this? In like the 21st century, we're still trying to hide drinking alcohol? Like, do we really live in this like 1930s, like, let's bootleg, like, this is crazy. So anyway, I grew up in a very strict home where alcohol was not a thing. My dad would hide his non-alcoholic beer in the garage, and just hilarious stuff. So fast forward, I did not start drinking until I started working for a Catholic high school. And at the Catholic high school, there was wine everywhere for every occasion you could ever imagine. And I remember being so nervous that it was like the first, like, welcome back to school, the parents are coming, the teachers having to do presentations, and I was so nervous about, how do I do a presentation as a first New Year teacher? And everyone was like, why are you worried? All of the parents will be drunk. And they were right. All the parents were drunk, and it was like the best back to school night I ever had. So then I started drinking. So now I've never done dry January, but it seems to be there's a lot more awareness around drinking alcohol now. Even the cruise we just went on recently had mocktail menus everywhere. There was the AA meetings, the Friends of Bill that were on. There was a lot of awareness around moderation of drinking alcohol, and I think that's really obviously to each his own, but I do think it's fascinating that we're seeing this trend really to go into this place of what does it look like to really be healthy and to make wise choices day in and day out. And so we're seeing that now with alcohol as well. I think it's great.
Yeah, I agree. I think even if you don't do the full dry January, like, it is raising awareness in general about how to drink in moderation. Like, I got an advertisement for some app, I forgot the name of it, but it holds you accountable for your drinking. So it's like, it takes your goals into account, and then it's like, okay, how about when you go out, you alternate a drink and water? Or like, how about you don't use, sorry, can you hear the kids outside? Okay.
No.
Okay.
They're all drinking out there. We're just going to ignore them.
Okay, good. Or when, instead of like keeping certain dry days, or rather keep certain dry days instead of drinking every single day. So I thought that was really interesting. David, let me kick it over to you.
Dry month of January. Absolutely, positively not. To be honest with you, I went through boot camp. I went 3 months without having any alcohol. Alcohol makes everything fun. If you get to a point where you are abusing it, which I'll be honest with you, I don't understand how people can do that. I mean, we have huge parties in our family. I mean, we go big every time. Coming up, we have our St. Patty's party that's coming up, and we're all in our kilts, we're singing all night, we drink a lot of alcohol. Last year I learned a new strategy with it. You had just talked about, Dan, and that is drink a bottle of water in between every 2 beers. And what it comes down to is the hydration levels. If you're drinking to a point where, I mean, you're binge drinking. Okay, we all did it. Well, I don't know if you all did it. I know I did it in high school and in college, and it was a normal thing. Now, did I rely on it? Absolutely not. Yeah, if I woke up last Saturday, if I woke up with a hangover, I do not even want to think about alcohol. So if I woke up with a hangover and all I could think of was, God, please give me a shot of vodka right now, then I know I might need to do a January dry month, and see how that goes. Because if my body was relying on it, or I'm relying on it, I have a problem, and I think it brings awareness to everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, I don't think that it will, it'll save you, because I mean, I don't know, we're Catholic, we do Lent every year,
Yeah.
The one thing, and I said this on the last show, the last thing I'll never give up beer for Lent. I mean, I'll give up cussing, I'll give up, chocolate, or there's a lot of things I'll do, or I'll do something nice. But you're insane if you think I'm going to miss 3 of the biggest parties of the year in our family, So I in college, I was DJing and doing KJing and everything, and I tell you what, being around drunk people and you're the only one not drinking, you don't like those people. It's
Oh my
boring.
God, yeah.
And it's
They get so
irritating.
annoying.
Just be the DD one time and watch how you're like, dude, can we just get over with this night? You guys are a bunch of idiots, and you don't realize, damn, I do the same thing, when it's my turn. So
I'm the idiot.
and you know what?
What
If
about
I
when
base
everyone else is sober and you're the only drunk one, right?
that was a COVID thing. I'll admit, we built the bar, and I was trying new drinks out, building things up, and I ain't going anywhere, so I was trying to figure it out.
Anytime one of us gets drunk when no one else, we got each other's back. I'll still laugh at you.
Well, that's when you start to realize, oh man, maybe I'm an alcoholic. That's why it's like when we pull out shots, everybody take a shot so I don't feel like an alcoholic. All right, But
none of us really drink alone either.
No,
you know what I mean? Like
well, I have
come together,
whiskey on rocks,
for a little beer once in a while, but yeah.
Yeah, but nobody's drinking, closet drinkers where they're just pounding it, oh, I gotta get this. You know what? I've done shows where I need a little buzz here or there just to kind of calm the nerves. My wife always says, how the hell do you get up on a stage and with, all these people, and you just seem to just flow right in? And I'm like, well, first of all, I'm a good actor, so I can act like it doesn't scare the crap out of me. Second of all, you didn't see it, but I took a couple shots backstage, so I'm feeling a little bit like, I feel relaxed now. Now there is a problem, and there's a little secret to being when I used to be a lead singer, people like to bring you shots all day long, so, and you don't want to look like you don't party with them. They're all getting drunk. Why not you? So what the trick was, they'd give me a shot, hold it up to the crowd, take the shot, turn around where my drummer is, like I'm setting the glass down, grab a water bottle and spit the whiskey into it, okay, or whatever they gave you. And they think you just took a sip of water so you can sing. At the end of the day, you look smart. Okay. Now I've done it the other way, and it didn't turn out too well, and it was scary. So, a dry month, do you drink more? Do you binge more when you come back? Probably. I don't know. Maybe people do, maybe they don't. But, like you guys said, moderation is the key. Moderation, and just drink responsibly,
Drive responsibly too.
Oh yeah, the best thing you do is, hey, Corey, can you give me a ride down to the bar, and then drop me off? I'll figure out how I'm going to get home. That way, I'm not stupid going, I only had a few, and then you want to drive. Like, I got this. It's the smart thing is just have somebody drop you off. I mean, in this day and age, you can always get a ride home.
Yeah.
What sucks is nobody wants to leave their vehicle at that place and have to come back the next day and pick it up, let alone what are they going to do to your car? Oh God, my truck's still there. I'm happy. Thank God. It's just best just to be smart, be responsible, drink in moderation. And I don't see how anybody can think that taking 1 month off is going to save you.
Right. So. Yeah. No, even last night I was out at a team dinner, and sometimes when you're out, you get caught up in it, but I made sure I was really mindful. And like when the waiter would come around in like another round, I wouldn't automatically say yes. Like we ended up going to 3 different places. And I know at that second place in the past, I would have done 2 drinks. And I was like, nah, I'm good with one. And I drank much less than I normally would have, and the room wasn't spinning. And I woke up this morning and I felt great overall. So, everything in moderation. Listen, if you at home like dry January, sorry, their kids are, I hope we can edit this out. Their kids, I love my neighbors, but they let their kids scream in the hallway, and like it's so distracting. Just had to get that out. And like, listen, they're kids and like they need to get their energy out, but not in the freaking hallway. Okay. Let me go back to what I was saying.
Sounds to me like you need a drink.
I know. Okay. So if you at home love dry January, like, and that works for you, great. It's all about moderation, and I don't think I'll ever get to a whole dry month. Maybe I will, God willing, I have kids. That's when I'll get to a 9 dry months. But as of right now, no, it's not in the books for me. So also this year started off as a very cold and snowy year for a lot of people. Now, I live in California, so thankfully I got to ditch the snow. I hate snow, but my friend sent me a Ring video camera footage of her like shoveling. She just bought a house in Jersey and she has so much property, and like the shovel's bigger than she is. So I'm glad that's not me. But whenever you hear it's gonna snow, like the thing in Jersey was like, I gotta go buy the bread and milk. Vic DiBitetto like made that famous online too, but we were always saying that beforehand. I want to know if you know you're going to be stuck in the house for whatever reason, like even if it was something like COVID when we had a lockdown, what are your like guilty pleasures? Like it could be 2 or more things that are like your bread and milk. Like for me, for instance, when the world was about to shut down, I ran to Trader Joe's and grabbed chips and guac and beer. Like that's my bread and milk, and I was a happy camper. So Linni, what are your things you're going to stock up on?
That is hilarious. I am so practical when it comes to all of it. I'm also the Y2K kid, right? So my parents' basement was filled with canned goods for Y2K when Y2K would come. So now, I don't know, even when COVID was hitting and we were living in LA and the stocks, like the shelves were like totally empty, it just did not freak me out. I'm like, okay, we'll eventually get toilet paper. We'll eventually get paper towels. Like I just wasn't, I don't know, took it all in stride. So to think like I would get something fun, I don't know, my brain doesn't always think that way. Like I'm so practical of like, okay, we're gonna get paper towels, we'll get Clorox wipes, we'll make sure we got toilet paper. But when I saw your question, the first thing that came to mind, and I don't think this is a kid show, right? The first thing that came to mind was like, well, it's chocolate and condoms. If you get two fun things, that's what you need to do. If you're gonna be stuck inside, that makes complete sense, right? So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Oh my God, I am obsessed with that. Yeah, if you're stuck inside with someone else, God bless. Be safe and eat healthy while you're being safe. Love that. And by eat healthy, I mean the chocolate.
The chocolate.
Love chocolate. What about you, Corey?
Just the essentials: chips, guac.
You said chicks. I heard chicks.
Yeah,
chicks was in there. I need
no
white. Chips, guac, and if the chips were really down and I hate to say it, man, but I'd like to have ammo. I'd like to have ammo. I'd like to have things to protect my family. That's where, it depends on what we're talking about. If we're just being talked about snowed in and it's just for fun, very different story.
Yeah.
Right. But if we're talking about chips are down, we're stuck somewhere for a while. She was mentioning COVID a minute ago. That's when we started thinking about, man, how bad is all this going to get? And when does it reach that point where, I'm really going to need some of these supplies? And so that thought process goes there. But otherwise, yeah, snacks. If you're staying in, you got to have the snacks, got to have the essentials, probably some frozen foods or something that we're going to throw in and just, if you're stuck inside, you don't really feel like doing much. You don't feel like cooking. You don't feel like doing a lot of that. So having some of those comforts and just weathering it out, right? Literally waiting for the weather to ride out. So.
And the frozen food doesn't need to go in the freezer. It can just stay in your car. It's already frozen.
Exactly.
It snowed here a few years ago, and I had a bunch of beers sitting in the snow outside, and it was awesome.
Filled the
Made
bar
a good picture too.
We just put a bunch of beers on it and kept them cold out there.
Oh my God, so you could literally like crack open a cold one like on demand. I'm obsessed with that. I'm glad you're also team chips and guac. Like, I love a chip. Like, Chipotle has my favorite chips because they got the little like salt and limey like tinge to
Yep.
it. So yeah, that's why I ran to Trader Joe's. Like, I had already done, actually, props to my mom. She like freaked out because she's cross country. So she Instacarted like literally everything I'd ever need to my apartment earlier that day. So I was like, I want chips and guac and beer. But Trader Joe's has those like hint of limey chips, and I got a bunch of those. And like the girl at the register looked at me like I had 5 heads because everyone was going to fill their carts up with the essentials, and I was like, nah, just this
I just
for me
need
today.
chips.
Yeah, they're so good. If you haven't had them, you definitely have to try. David, what about you?
Well, everything that you guys said, but you know, need the beer, need the whiskey, need the internet. Because without the internet, I'm screwed because I haven't paid for cable or satellite in 20 years. So, you know, we've got Hulu, we've got, you know, FNL, we've got, you name it, you know, Netflix, you know, and then we play video games, you know, we'll play online with each other. You know, we spend a lot of time as a family together doing that stuff. I do know when COVID hit, the first thing I did is built a bar. And we built that bar, and it was amazing because we knew it'd be a central spot, an aspect for when our big gigantic family comes around, that everybody can feel at home and have a blast. And you know, so definitely having projects, you know, to do. I love being snowed in too. When I was in the Midwest, absolutely loved it. I loved going out in the snow, trekking through it. I felt like it was I'm risking my life for the family kind of a deal, you know. And it's an adventure, and it was enjoyable. I mean, the first time I had to leave out during COVID, I remember laughing and telling everybody, I said, all right, guys, we're going out, you know, wish I had ammo, you know. But for the most part though, I do have a story of one time though. It's not necessarily being snowed in. It was down around Christmas. Being married to a Mexican, if it rains or snows, the first thing that you're going to have, no matter what, is what, Corey?
You want the real name or what we call
No,
it?
the food that we're gonna about to eat. Oh, dude, I'm not. Oh, toilet. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, menudo. It's always
Toyota.
menudo.
Yeah.
And
Oh, you're
I
talking about the drink.
remember the drink toilet. I call it toilet, but you know,
Toilet.
it's good though. But for me, it's always I have to go out and get the hominy, you know. And I remember this one Christmas, they didn't have hominy, and my mother-in-law needed to make it. And so I went to every single grocery store. I looked in every aisle. I was getting frustrated, you know, and I finally called up my wife. I'm like, damn it, I can't find any hominy anywhere. She goes, are you sure? Have you tried? I said, I even went to Vallarta. I can't find it anywhere. I said, I swear, every Mexican in this town has got all the hominy and are hoarding it. And she starts laughing and she goes, probably it's Christmas. It's Menudo time. So I was like, all right. She goes, never mind. Just come home. So I hung up the phone. 30 seconds later, she calls me. She goes, guess what? I go, what? She goes, we found where all the hominies at. Her mom had it in another cupboard way back, and there was probably 50 to 60 gigantic cans of hominy. I was like, your mom's the one that hoarded it all. You know? So for them, it's the hominy. You know, I like being snowed in. You know, it's when it goes forever though, that's when it gets annoying. You know, a lot of people don't like it. I like going out and shoveling snow. I hate shoveling snow and the street sweeper comes on and just piles it right back on by the time you're done. And they do it on purpose. You know they do. If you've ever lived out there, they love it and they have a smile on their face. And there's a sign on it that says if you throw anything at us, you can get, you know, sued. You know, so it's like, so apparently everybody's thrown something at them before. So I mean, I like it. It's enjoyable. You know, COVID was a little bit too long. It was
Yeah.
irritating, you know. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but
We're
I got
nice, though.
excited when I found out we had a week before spring break and we were gonna have an extra week off. I was like, dude, this is awesome. We get 2 weeks off. And then we found out, you know what, we might not come back to school. I was like, this is badass, dude. Great. I mean, I could teach on here. This is easy. You know, but by the time school was starting up and they said, we're not ready to come back, it was like, oh my God, you know, I mean, I teach high school, so doing classes online, everybody has a black screen. Right now, I have more in this room that we're all talking than I would in class. So I felt like I was doing a seance every day. I'd be like, Corey, are you there? If you're there, please make a sound, do something. Okay, good.
There's a
Lenny,
sign from the other side.
are you awake?
Thumbs up button.
Lenny, what are you doing?
Oh my
And
God.
out, and Linni would be out. Linni wouldn't be there. Yep.
So I absolutely love being snowed in. So yeah, those are my things. I'd say whiskey, internet, I'm not big on always snacking, but when you all bring the chips and the guacamole in, my ass is eating a lot along with you. So I do love wok. I mean, we can't ever have enough wok in this family, and potatoes. If y'all get some potatoes in here, I mean, there's not a big enough pan to fry up enough fried potatoes for us because this family loves. I mean, we're Irish, so once some fried potatoes come out, that's about everything anybody wants to eat. So you can never have enough potatoes. So
I love that. I love that toilet paper is not actually on anybody's list.
No.
no.
When that happened, I
We'll
was
figure
like,
something out. We got the chips. We'll figure something out, right?
Well, I
yeah.
remember we went to the girl's mom's house. She had all the toilet paper stashed up too from
That too.
Yeah, when that happened, I was like, okay, are we all just gonna like have explosive diarrhea collectively as a country? Like, what's
It was all a ruse from the debate companies.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened with it. Still don't know
Hey,
what
which buy
happened
all
with
the
all that.
toilet paper, and then they have to buy our product.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh my God. I'm so
That's
glad
a great business ploy.
yeah, I figured everybody in our family would get one. If we got one, somebody in our family is going to run in there and just let that thing go flying out through the house, and I'm like, why is there water all over the place? Oh, they were playing with the debate, That's how you say it, right? Debate, Dubai,
Today.
debate. I don't know.
Today. Wait, yeah.
Debate.
Yeah.
Let's stick with Dubai,
Say
dude.
that 10 times over, it doesn't sound right.
Today.
No, that's so true though. I'm glad we're past that because I had just moved out here cross country by myself. Like I was here 5 months and then I'm like, well, this is different.
Isolation would be boring by yourself. I have to
Yeah,
admit.
and I live in a studio and I remember seeing a meme and it's like I'm going on vacation, like lay kitchen, lay bedroom, and I'm like, dude, I have like lay bathroom and that's it. Like it was torture. But yeah, at least I had my chips and guac and my beer and like my 2-buck chuck from Trader Joe's.
Oh yeah. Thank
Actually
God somebody can bring it.
worked the entire time. I wasn't teaching yet, and I didn't get a single day off for COVID. We were there the whole time. Like when they initially started, it was supposed to be like 9 days or whatever. Or no, it was 15 days, right? It was 15 days. The first time they did that lockdown was 15 days, and our company didn't even address it until 9 or 10 days into that 15 days. So, but we worked the entire time, and it was very interesting because everything was just a ghost town. And I found like because I was always out, and I'd come home and hear my wife and them. They'd be like, "Well, what about this?" And what news of the world? And I'd be like, "It's normal. It's not everything that everybody thinks it is." It was weird because at first a lot of the businesses were closed. We're driving from here to Malibu and back, and we had nowhere to stop, right? In our trucks and stuff. But otherwise, everything was kind of like normal. They tried to block some of the parks where we would go and sit on our breaks, and we're not supposed to go over there. So there's a couple of weird things, but for the most part, I don't know where the toilet paper thing came from. I don't know where 90% of the panic and the weird things everybody thought and started doing. And
Yeah, and all the emails from the businesses like to protect your safety, we are only whispering to each other to avoid spreading germs, like stuff like that. And I'm like, I don't care. I was like, if I get one more of these emails like about stuff they're doing to protect me that I don't care about.
then
I was upset all the buffets went out of business after that.
Yeah. Well, you could still get them in Vegas.
Yeah.
Well,
Vegas
at the time there wasn't. And when I went to Vegas, there's no buffets. My favorite one was Paris, and
that's such a good buffet.
Never brought it back. And
no, my mom and I said that too. That was our favorite, and it's gone now, and we were so upset.
It was like going and sitting down at Disneyland and just eating all day, and just watching people.
Oh my God.
I love that place, and I was disappointed. I don't eat buffets as much now, but back in the day when you didn't have a lot of money, a buffet meant a lot to you. Now if I'm going to spend that kind of money, I'm going to stay here. I'm going to eat all the chocolate. I'm going to eat. I took the time to eat all the crab legs. I think one time we went to Vegas, and when I first found Paris, I was excited, and my wife and I sat down to eat the crab legs, and we took pictures, sent it to Corey and Dustin, all my brothers, everybody. Like, oh man, this is amazing. You got to come eat here sometime. And then when we got done, we're like, oh, now for dessert. And my brother Corey's like, dude, is this a late picture? I'm like, no, I'm still here. He goes, this is 4 hours, bro. I was like, what? We didn't even know we were there for 4 hours, just
Dude,
enjoying it.
we were there with you guys in Vegas, and we went home. And you guys, when we left the hotel, you guys went over there and found that place. And that when you were like, oh, we found this really cool place, you're sending us pictures. We drove home. We went and got something to eat somewhere. I think we went to the movies after that. In the middle of the movie, you're still texting. I'm like, dude, it's been like 4.5 hours.
Oh my God. No, the Wynn buffet is pretty solid. And the last time I was there, but this was before COVID, they had like little chocolate chip cookies in glass dishes that were under like a heat lamp. So they were melty. And I had like 5 of those. And that was when I was in my 20s and my metabolism was better. So like I could afford to have 5 of those. And it was great.
Well, I had it down to a science. Stay away from all breads. It will fill your stomach up. Eat just the meats, and there's always room for dessert, right?
Yeah.
A dessert stomach.
Yeah, a dessert stomach. We'd say, man, I wish I had 4 stomachs like a cow right now,
Oh my God, amazing. Well, I had so much fun this episode. Thank you at home for always watching. Thank you, Corey, David, Linni. Thank you all for joining me today. I had fun with you guys. You at home can catch us every week on the FNL Network talk show, and we will talk to you then. Bye.
Take care.
Bye.